Well, I might be a little worse for wear, but the Pittsburgh Penguins were not. Hi, I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now YouTube channel in my festive grapes blazer. I get to dust it off once or twice a year, and I figured the game before Christmas was the right time to do it. So let's talk about the Penguins' 7-3 win over the Philadelphia Flyers. Almost said 5-3 because the last couple of goals, Sidney Crosby's empty netter, and Blake Lizotte adds a last-second power play goal. You get free chili, at least, courtesy of Eden Park. But really, I think 5-3 is where we're going to kind of cut the analysis. There are several key points to get into. Penguins were great. The Penguins were terrible. And then the Penguins were incredibly good defensively. Which team do you want to analyze? And I suppose in a microcosm, that is the story of the 2024-25 Penguins, is you just never know what you're going to get. Let's talk about what they did very well in the first period before we get to the next 40 minutes. I asked Mike Sullivan, and he didn't give me much of the answer that I wanted to hear, quite frankly. Coaching against John Tortorella, was there anything that maybe he did that sparked or aided the Penguins in their fantastic start? He said no. The team was just playing really well. The reality was, yes, if you watch the first period, the passes were perfect. Tape to tape, straight up the ice with speed. But yeah, there was a lot more to it. Let's not kid ourselves. The Penguins were in tight puck support mode, especially in the first period. John Tortorella loves a good forecheck. He really reinvented the game with his Tampa Bay Lightning forecheck way back 20 years ago in 2004. So you know where Mike Sullivan gets it. He comes straight from that coaching tree. Tortorella, his teams like to, an aggressive forecheck. By having tight puck support and not big stretch passes and not swooping cross ice passes and not trying to, get there quickly, with tight puck support and skating, the Penguins were able to zoom past Philadelphia's forecheck. Tick, 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 gone. It was quite impressive, especially some guy named Sidney Crosby. Crosby had 4 points on Monday night, 1 goal, 3 assists, but my goodness, that top line in the first period was absolutely unstoppable. They even had 1 goal called back. That's how good they were. To the second period, nothing was working. They didn't have their legs. They exhaled. With a 4-1 lead, the Penguins completely exhaled. They weren't playing with any intention or intensity. Philadelphia took it to them. But Philadelphia didn't come all of the way back. Now, bear in mind, on Saturday, Philadelphia scored 4 third-period goals to beat Columbus in overtime. They only got a couple of second-period goals Monday. They closed to within 4-3. Side note, by the way. It was a fairly decent goal that Philadelphia scored 4 minutes into the second period to make it 4-2. And inexplicably, fans were booing. They weren't booing the Flyers' goal. They were booing the home team that had just played a brilliant period and it was now leading only 4-2. I think some of y'all get, way too entitled to something. I guarantee the players noticed that one. Unfortunately, it kind of deflates my argument that the Flyers scored another goal midway through the second period to make it 4-3, a terrible goal. Tristan Jarry just kind of whiffs on Sean Couturier's push to the net from the circle, essentially. All right. But you didn't boo after 4-3. But I don't quite understand what's quite going on in the fan base. There seems to be, instead of the Crosby-Malkin war, this guy's better, that was 15 years ago. Now it's we want to win versus we want to lose. And we hate this player has to go, and nobody can sort of soften their opinion with changing information. I might recommend some people do that, quite frankly. To the third period, in this 5-minute Penguins postgame. By the way, now that I've, insulted you or offended you, like and share if you could. The third period was textbook on where the Penguins are headed. What I mean by that is, instead of the aggressive forecheck, the Penguins pulled back. We've talked about this several times. It's what they did almost for the entirety against LA. It's what they did intermittently, not nearly good enough in Nashville, and what they did in the first period in New Jersey before they kind of got away from it, got behind, and never recovered. It's creating those layers in the neutral zone that makes this team really good. There isn't another way to put it. I know it's counter to everything in their DNA. The fact that Mike Sullivan has pushed the team this far down that rabbit hole of playing structured, patient, counterattack defense for periods at a time, or even, I think eventually perhaps games at a time, is shocking to me. That was the third period for the Penguins. They did that. They allowed only 6 Philadelphia shots. If the Flyers had any holiday miracles or hopes of getting in the game, the Penguins packed the zone, stayed between the puck and the net, took the pressure off of Tristan Jarry. Evgeny Malkin was playing beast mode defense. And to God. So you put all of those things together. Which Penguins team do you grade? What you grade the brilliant team that created speed and offense in the first period, the awful team in the second period that thought they did good enough in the first period, they didn't have to show up, or the team in the third period that completely buckled down and played a gritty and solid game. Like I said, the microcosm of the 2024 Pittsburgh Penguins. A couple performances, obviously, to call out. The Penguins' top line, Sidney Crosby, Brian Rust, Rickard Rakell. I don't recall a Penguins' top line playing this well, this many games in a row for, quite frankly, some time. I can't recall Sidney Crosby and line mates. I suppose Crosby and Gensel have gone off in frequent years, but all three players, just Brian Rust is on another level. He's on that same level with Sidney Crosby right now. And for Rakell and Rust, who maybe struggled a little bit last year, dealt with injuries and all of that, I know for certain that they are enjoying this. They're smiling like a butcher's dog. They probably also both know that this could be their final season in Pittsburgh, and they're really making the most of it. Rakell especially is playing some fantastic hockey. Also, P.O. Joseph, look, he and Letang had some sketch moments in the second period like everybody else. In the first and third periods, they were pretty good. They were a -2, but that was in large part because of the soft goal. They happen. Other performances to note, Blake Lizotte continues to be this completely unheralded, unexpected. You wouldn't think that a fourth-line center could have this kind of impact on a team, but here he is. The Penguins' record with him is, 12-4? 12-4-3? It's unbelievable. Think about that. If you notice, Mike Sullivan put the Blake Lizotte line on the ice immediately after their goals in the first period. It wasn't, next line up. It wasn't Evgeny Malkin trying to go get another goal. Blake Lizotte, that fourth line with Nola Chari. They're doing their job. And Achari just trucked, that's with a T, trucked Ryan Poehling as well. Just a big hit. And I thought it kind of set the tone in the third period that the Penguins meant business. So that's it from PPG Paints Arena. For those of you who celebrate Hanukkah, a happy first night coming up on Wednesday, and a Merry Christmas to you as well. Try to enjoy it, have some fun. We've got a 4-day NHL break. That does not mean a 4-day Pittsburgh Hockey Now break. Working every day. There will be plenty of news stories. I've palmed a couple, including one on Owen Pickering, Cody Glass, and Philip Tomasino. I also had a one-on-one conversation with Michael Bunting Monday morning. It's fair to say the New Jersey Devils wanted to kill Mike Bunting. I talked to him about that, and he kind of, he's giving me the stock cliche answers, and I brought up how much New Jersey wanted to kill him. And he kind of got the smile, and we began talking about that. So I'll have that story over the break. And I also talked with Penguins assistant general manager Jason Spezza about a lot of the stuff, the unique things, and the innovations that they've brought to Wilkes-Barre Scranton. They're doing things very differently this year. They watched, they learned, they kind of got a sense of where things were in Wilkes last season. They've turned Spezza loose this season, and by all accounts, he's doing a pretty good job with that team. So we've got that story too, and I know Dave has a story on Ricard Raquel coming, and I think we've got it. I was just writing down ideas last few days and saving them, and so even though the Penguins aren't playing, I'll be writing, and I hope you'll be reading as well. So I suppose the next time we will actually talk at the rink will be December 28th, Long Island. You just can't get there from here. In the meantime, hey, have a great time with family, celebrate the holiday. If you want to talk some hockey, I'll be on social media screwing around too. Have fun, kids. We'll talk soon.